Hi viewers, welcome to yet another session on Quick Talks with CA Rajvardhan. And in today's session with us, we have Vikash Paul out there, who's a chartered accountant who was lead analyst at CRISIL. And right now today is doing something way more cooler, way more amazing, way more exciting that all of us can be envious and jealous of. Is following his dreams. He is a full-time stand-up comic out there. And Vikash Paul, thanks for taking a time out and then being part of this show. Welcome. I welcome you on behalf of all the viewers.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you, Rajavardhan, for having me. It's a great honor to be here and being interviewed by you. Yeah. So tell me.
And I do like all his jokes, and few ones are my favorite. Whichever is my favorite, I'll drop a link about that stand-up comedy video of his, which I love the most in the description. I request all of you guys to go down and then check his particular video. Vikash, I'm gonna post only that video what I love the most. I told you previously that I loved that part of it.
Yeah. And also, yes, please follow me on Instagram at Vikash Paul Comics so you can follow my future work also. So that is it.
Yes, I'll drop that link as well in the description.
Sure.
And Vikash, chartered accountant and a stand-up comedy doesn't go good along at all. Like talking about the kind of serious looks that chartered accountants usually give. Now, as a kid, usually we know what does a doctor do, what does an engineer do, what does a teacher do. But chartered accountant is a word which we cannot relate to as a school-going kid, and we
Yeah.
might relate to it at few places when we go to our college, basically. When was the first time you heard about this code, chartered accountancy, and how did you get into this course?
Uh, I normally, yeah, exactly correct. Like when teachers used to ask in school, like, what is your ambition? People will normally say what doctor or a pilot or something like a cricketer or something like that, but nobody will say chartered accountant. This term you actually get to know only when you grow up. I think so. I got to first time know when there was some scam or something. I think so. Satyam Computer, that big scam had happened by he was a CA and all. Because see, normally CA people have stereotype, right? CAs means you do scam only, and there's another. That's another thing, that the word scam cannot be spelled without CA in it. So yes, no, but yeah, people have that stereotype. No, but yeah, CA. What when we pass out of a school, when we get into college, if you see, there are only two popular options. At least when I was there, that was only two popular options: MBA or CA.
Hmm.
So I remember when for MBA they say that you have to go through that GD, group discussion and personal interview, and I was not very good in communication. I mean, I was a very introverted kid. I mean, I'm still very introverted. So when I saw that in MBA you have to tackle those things, and CA is more like a hard work. Like you have to just study, hard work, intelligence is needed. So but there's no such interview or GD and all. So I was like, okay, I'll take this. So there was no like very conscious decision. Oh, because I like the CA course, I should go. No, it was not like that. It was like because I didn't want to go for that GD interview, and also what society decides, right? Society will be like, these are only two options, you choose, and then I chose CA.
Oh, that's really nice. So everyone has a very interesting story when this question comes up as to why did you take up CA? And it's a very good coincidence that even when I got into my college, I had to choose between MBA and CA. I was very clear. I'll do MBA grad. And first day of
Correct.
my college, when the teacher asked this question, out of 100 people in the class, 80 of them raised their hand and told MBA. That's when I
Correct.
decided, okay, fine. I'm not doing MBA because I don't want to have these people around with me. And that's when how I switched into CA. And it is definitely not as easy as we decide, no, that I want to become chartered accountant, that will become one day. Everyone goes through a lot of testing times, and you might have also gone through few testing times. So if you can share a couple of testing times that at which you were really questioning your decision of becoming a chartered accountant, and how did you basically come out of it? This question is a very interesting one that I would love to ask you, because a lot of viewers out there are students who've taken up this course, are at foundation level and inter level, and few of them might be going through testing times and then questioning whether it was their right life decision to take up the course. Maybe if your decision can help them out, one fine day when they clear and they're taking their convocation, they might tell, Vikash Paul didn't just make me laugh, he inspired me to go through those tough times and then went on to become what I am today.
Actually, quite contrary to the what you're thinking, I might be
Uh,
the wrong person to answer this question actually, because I have a very unpopular opinion. In fact, a controversial answer to this question. I feel CA is not tough. I mean, it's not challenging. It is made tough by people. It has been hyped by people. See, I'll give a very simple example. People always say CA stuff. Why? Because they see that pass percentage, right? They will say it's like
hmm,
3%, 4%. Now it is improved to like 10, 15% also.
yes.
But there were like quite some period of time, assuming 4, 5 years back, and for many years it was like 3%, 4%. but you have to look why it is 3-4%. It's because see, CA is a very low investment course. For example, if you say it's a zero investment course, at least when I was doing it,
Yeah.
I'll give you a very rough calculation. For example, if you're getting 5,000 rupees stipend per month, so 3 years, 36 months, like easily you're getting some 2 lakh rupees. And if you invest like CA each level, I think some, and when I was doing the fees was 5,000 something. Now it will be like 10,000 something. So 3 level, and plus what you pay for coaching, easily it will be accommodated between 2-3 lakhs. So it's like a zero investment course. And when you compare it to MBA, where you have to pay 10 lakh or 8
Yeah.
lakh for the fees. So obviously people not, so a lot of people are going for a CA option because the investment, the initial investment of that course fees is very less. Once they enroll it, they're not that serious because they're like, not much investment has gone into this. So a lot of non-serious people, unprepared people are appearing for exams. So obviously the fail percentage will be far higher, right? Like in MBA, nobody fails because you've got into the college and then you will
You
pass
paid
out
the
obviously.
price for it.
Yeah, exactly. If you really want to compare CA pass percentage, you should compare with the CAT percentage, right? The MBA,
Percentage.
how many people give CAT? That will be like 0.05%.
Huh.
So it's no, when people say CA is 3%, 4%, I'm like, no, because there are a lot of non-serious people appearing. If so, that's what my, if I remove that part, apart from that, I feel it's it's a course, yeah, which needs consistent hard work. I feel it's not even like that you have to study for full year or 6 months. I remember my foundation, I would have studied for 1 month, inter 2 months, final 3 months. This is a basic ratio and it works like, I mean, I'm classes you have to do, coaching classes, whatever you're doing, whenever that you have to understand the concepts, keep doing the, whatever you get as a exercise, you have to come back and do all those problem solutions. But I'm saying the real preparation, like when you make a timetable and last 3 months of serious studies for final, 2 months for inter, is enough actually to clear the exam.
That's really nice.
Testing times,
Rather than he
yeah,
saying that it is difficult and you can come through, he basically took that mindset out, saying that it is not at all difficult if you actually put in your entire hard work. And that holds good. Trust me, he's not kidding. And he's not kidding. He pulled it out
uh,
within 3 months. Yeah.
no, testing times is obviously there. Like, see, some subjects, some people will like, some will not like. Like that is always you will have some favorite subjects. Like for me, costing was very, very tough. I don't know why, because I used to find so weird that costing subject, because it was like a theoretical subject hidden in a practical format. I'm like, hey, come on, don't cheat us, okay? Like you have to answer it in a practical way, but it was a theory subject. I'm like, what is this? Be at least practical like accounts or MAFA, or be like a theoretical like law or audit? No, you are somewhere in between. So I never liked costing actually, and I was very tough. So,
MAFA,
but I
basically
just,
what he's referring to is the SFM that people hear these days. MAFA was called as Mafia of the times of final.
correct, financial management, the
Yeah.
value, that was my favorite topic. That is how I got into my whole job also. That was my favorite subject, MAFA. Then accounts, I loved it very much. So these two are my favorite subjects.
That's
So
really
yeah,
nice. And yeah, and like initially, as we spoke about your entire journey of the CA, and getting into CA is one different thing because you hardly hear about the course in comparison to other courses like MBA, or say MBBS or engineering or something. But right after qualification, people usually get into Big Four, or they get into industry, or they get into practice. CRISIL is something that we would have hardly heard of. Now, how did you
correct.
venture into CRISIL? Like it's something very exciting for for people out there who are wondering what is CRISIL. It's basically into credit rating. And is this your first job? Was this your first job straight away into CRISIL?
First job and the only job. I
Now, can
did.
you tell
I'm
us
a,
how did you basically decide to get into CRISIL? Like, how did it happen to
yeah.
you?
So see, I just now I told you, right. My favorite subject was that financial MAFA, which you people
Hmm.
say what, SIFM,
SFM, Strategic
SFM.
Financial Management.
Static. So financial management, valuation of companies and valuation accounting and all. I love that very much. That's why I feel articleship is very important for you to know where is your interest areas. Many people take that dummy articleship and all. And when I hear that, I'm like, that's like you digging your own grave, because that articleship only decides where your interest is. Like, for example, if you're very much interested in audit, so you should go in the audit job. Like, see, normally we have 8 papers in final, but ultimately your specialization will come only in one subject. Like if you're a tax, if you go to a firm where it's only taxation work, your taxation knowledge will be used most. If you go in a financial accounting part, like, so you'll be handling the accounts of the company, so accounting will be used. Where somewhere auditing will be used, somewhere law will be used, somewhere this SFM will be used, the financial accounting, financial management part. So mine, I understood in that 3 years of articleship that audit is not what I want to do. Accounts I was interested in, but I was more interested in that variance analysis. Remember in articleship, we used to do
Uh-huh.
that. comparing variance analysis between why this account has increased from this year to this year, what are the reasons, then and the final the valuation of the companies. We used to see the shares, how they have moved and all. So I found at least this is my interest area. And then I researched in the last year of my articleship that what are the companies who are offering these kind of roles. So 8 years back, 10 years back, there was only one company called Irevna, IREVNA, which later got acquired by CRISIL. So Irevna was the only company which used to provide this equity research profile. When you're saying CRISIL is credit rating, actually it's not only credit rating, it's credit rating and equity research. So credit rating is in Mumbai, which is the head one, and the equity research is in Chennai, which I was part of, where I joined equity research profile. So which is also now equally big as credit rating part of CRISIL. So went to that equity research profile, and Irevna was the only company providing that time. And then CRISIL acquired Irevna, and I got my job, and I loved my job like anything. Like first 5 years, I loved it until stand-up comedy came in my life. But yeah, I used to love that. It was exactly what I thought, like valuation of the companies, valuation of transactions, share analysis, how to value a share, how to take a decision of buying or selling a shares. So that and how to design a model, how to work out the calculations. So it was very interesting.
It's a very bright takeaway for all of you guys out there who's doing articleship, that he didn't take that articleship time to basically learn what's actually required to survive the articleship. Those 3 years are very important for you to decide what
Yeah,
do you want to do like after articleship. At the end of the articleship, as he sounded to me, he was very clear that what he wanted in life. But a lot of us,
correct.
even post qualification 2 years down the line, we still be thinking, what do we want? So that clarity is something that has made him move up the ladder amazingly. I was just running through his LinkedIn profile, and what I observed was so astonishing. He started as a junior analyst and then went up to senior analyst, and I think by the time you quit, you were a lead analyst, and all this in the span of 5 years. That is too, what to say, that's too quick to run up in the ladder when it comes down. So one, I think what I think personally is that happened to him because he was so clear as to what did he want post qualification.
Yeah,
And
correct.
it's very easy to basically tell, okay, I want to take up a career in this particular field, but moving up the ladder is not something that's so easy. Now can you tell us what was it basically that it needed out of you? What kind of a character, attitude, or what kind of a work approach did you maintain to be so successful in the career option that you took up?
Yeah, I mean, if you see that whatever promotion or whatever monetary benefit or whatever increment you get, those are all byproduct. Like you can't focus that I have to become as senior research analyst or lead analyst. You have to love your work, what you're doing. So that is the first thing, identifying what you love doing, like whether your interest is there or not. Like I had like 200% interest in the work I was doing. So if my manager in the first year, if you used to give me something to research about, I used to go and give him back something more than what he expected from me, because not because I wanted to impress him or because I want a high bonus, because I really loved doing that work. So to identify what you love doing is the first and foremost very important thing. You have to identify that. You have to know where is your interest. So that was when I was into equity research. So I used to cover capital goods sector and also the utility sector. So if I am doing that sector, so I'll read all the research reports about different analysts, from Indian analysts, foreign analysts, and then a lot of other reports, other market reports. So if I get some work to do, like if I have to write an article on this or some research piece on this, I will give more than what they expected from me because I had a lot of interest in that. So if you keep on consistently have interest in what you're doing and then keep on delivering more than what they expect, those things are byproduct, like you getting increment or you getting promotion or anything and all. But you have to love your work. Like the day when you realize that when you're going to office and you're not very excited about the work, you should know that you have to change the work. You have to change the job, which came for me. I'm not saying it didn't come for me.
Yeah, yeah.
It came for me at the end of fifth year. It came for me also. But till 5 years I loved it. I was very much interested in my work. So yeah, that interest, passionate about your work, that has to be there.
How much do you love what you love, or what you're basically doing will basically give out as to how much more can you give in what's basically expected from the job. If you only give what's basically expected from your job profile, it might not be something really great. So you'd have to do way more than what's asked out of you, is what I took away from that thing. That was really interesting. And when he told that he moved such up the ladder because he loved that particular thing, but he found his second love sometime down the lane during his life. Now stand up, like when you basically doing some really good in one particular profession, you might not think of an alternate solution or alternate way of life all by itself. But how did stand-up comedy kick into your life when you were doing so well professionally, when you were at the peak of your what to say career? Like how did stand-up comedy come in, and how did you think of switching from full-time job to stand-up comedy?
Yeah, so stand up was always there. It was never that it came suddenly as overnight. I mean, it's not like that. Just that I did not know that you can make a career out of it or you can make a living out of it. So comedy was always part of my interest from right from childhood days. Like I remember when I was growing up, I was very I used to watch those comedy series that if you remember Movers and Shakers. I think you're very young to know that. So Shakers, so I mean, obviously it was more in Hindi. Shekhar Suman. It was like a late night, like how you have Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel late night show. So it was like a late night show format where there'll be a stand up for first 15, 20 minutes and then they'll do topical humor and then news related comedy and then they'll have one guest and then do a sort of interview. So I used to watch that like religiously, like very religiously. And then Great Indian Laughter Challenge came which was the first stand up comedy reality show on Indian television. So that I used to record that on CD. I used to convert from TV to system, record it, and then watch that CD again and again. So I was almost like addicted to it. But I did not know that it can become a career. But that is again the same thing, the interest. So I was very much interested in it. I used to rehearse those lines. But then school happened, college happened. I did not take part in any stage performances, like a lot of stage because I was very introverted. Like I said. Then CA also happened, but every time I used to realize that I'm the funny guy in that group. Like I'm passing that funny comment, that witty replies. I'm making fun of everybody does in articleship, right? Where you make fun of your partner and your manager, you mimic them, how they review your work and all. So people used to enjoy. So obviously that was in your cousin circle, in your friend circle, you're the funny guy. So that was always there in the background. Then I think so when my CA job in CRISIL it started, I think the second or third year, we had this annual day. In companies also they have this annual event and all. And there also I used to do jokes about my boss, used to mimic them in canteen, in cafeteria and all. So all my friends pushed me like, this is annual event. There's a slot for stand up. Why don't you try stand up? I did not know like what is professional stand up, but I had seen a lot of YouTube videos and all. So I prepared some all inside jokes. Okay. All inside jokes about the ratings, bonus, appraisal, canteen food, boss. In front of 300 people, I performed for the first time. 300 to 500 people, I think they performed, and it was like very good because obviously inside jokes
Yeah.
about their bosses and also they will love it obviously. But that day when I realized that feel of like people laughing on your jokes, written jokes, that is like a very like it gives you a big high. It's almost like a drug. So you get so addicted, instant validation, instant gratification. And once you get a taste of it, you're not going to go back. So then
Mm.
I was like, shit, I can use something out of this skill. I can make people laugh. So why not use this and grow more into this? So then I started doing serious research. Like, where are the open mics? Open mics is a platform where anyone can
Mm.
go and try 5 minutes of material in front of strangers. And that is the first stepping stone to to get onto the career of stand-up comedian or any other artist. So from there, I think so. Then I researched about open mics, and then from there, I think so. My journey of stand-up started. But I didn't quit my job. So because you have to see that whether it's just the initial spark which will die down, and you don't have the real that talent to actually continue in stand-up art form. So you need to really see it for a while. Like it cannot be a hasty decision, right? Like that overnight you just quit your job. Like films and all. It's not a film. Real life is not film. So I did my job for 2 years and see stand-up comedy to parallel 2 to 3 years, almost 3 years. So moment I started making some money out of my job, like obviously you can't match CA salary. CA will pay you a lot, but I was making almost like 30-40%, and it looked promising that it will grow from here on in stand-up comedy. So that, and then also it started impacting my performance at job also, and it was impacting my stand-up also. So I was not doing justice at both the ends. So then I thought, okay, let's quit my job and try stand-up full time, and then I quit my job.
Yeah, throughout, whenever you hear from him, it's like he followed that interest, whatever was his basic interest, that he continued to do that. And passion and love is something that was driving his entire thing. And what I want to know is, like, I basically, when I hear from you, I feel like, okay, you had no regrets in anything that you did till now. But if you've been allowed, like, I don't have this superpower, but if I give you this superpower to go back in time, are there any things that you want to change? Like, do you wish that you would have started stand up little early, or you wish that you would have acquainted few skills from your school life or college life a little more? Or maybe if you've been allowed to go back in time, maybe to your school days, college, early CA student days, or articleship days, Is there any moment that you want to go back and then change any few things? It's just a fantasy question.
Yeah, see, obviously, like who doesn't have regrets? So
Yeah.
everyone has regrets. Today, I love in my life, I love stand up the most than anything else, right? Even more than my CA job, I'm loving stand up comedy because this is my current life. When I was doing my CA job, I was loving my CA job than anything else. So it's always your current phase you love the most. So right now, if I see, yeah, stand up, yeah, why not? I think that I should have started straight away from school. Right now, stand up has grown so much in our country. It's become like a legit career. People know that you can make a career out of it. At least they think they can make a career out of it, but
Yeah.
only the first 10% actually flourish. 90% struggle. But there are a lot of people in my Chennai circle itself, a lot of Mumbai and Bangalore circle also, where people have started just after college or just after school also. They are in just
Yeah.
school, 12th pass, they've got into stand-up comedy. We got to know stand-up comedy in what? In my job life. So I think, yeah, why I didn't start when just after school. Obviously, there was no stand-up comedy that time in India. So that is there. But yeah, I'll always regret that. Yeah, I should have started long back stand-up. But that is obviously not what is a practical thing to think because there was no stand-up that time. So another thing which I always think, which would have helped me really a lot, which can help a lot of CA students also, is the communication part. I've always felt CAs, if they lack anything today, I'm not saying all CAs, I'm not passing a very generic statement. Obviously, there are a lot of chartered accountants who can speak so well. They're very good orators and all. They get on stage and they have that spark, right? But I can say majority of the chartered accountants they're not very good in communication. Like, because our curriculum is not like that. For example, in MBA, 2 years, the whole 2 year course is like that you have to make a presentation, you have to present it in front of your team members, you have to make a project, you have to do this, you have to conduct a seminar or something. So there's some sort of community, there are a lot of group discussion, theater activities, because there's a campus. CA, there's no campus, right? We all are studying at home. Already we are introverted people, we are becoming more introverted because we are just within ourselves. 3 4 friends you'll meet, coaching center a little bit, you'll talk, and then you'll go back home. So there's no group activity except for that 2 months of GMCS, right? You know that, right?
Yeah.
What is it still called GMCS?
It is
General
now
Management and Community.
recently changed to MCS. They've not,
But yeah,
they've
still,
removed the
but
word.
it is
Yeah,
still
it is same.
still 2 months.
No, now it's like 15 days, two slots. First in the first 1 year of
Oh,
articleship one,
but
and
that
one other.
says no even. Oh, so 15 days, 2 times. Oh yeah, correct. It was 15 days only in my time also.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Now they
So
made
that
it
is what I.
two, GMCS 1 and GMCS 2. Meaning
So
first
this
you
is
do it
better
in the first
actually.
month of first year of articleship, and next one before you
Correct.
apply for COP.
So exactly. So that is what I was saying. When we were doing it was 15 days only in the last at the end of articleship before you step into your
Job.
corporate world. But that is what when I did that 15 minutes, it was like 15 minutes, 15 days was like the what MBAs do in 2 years.
Hmm.
So how can it compete with 15 days and 2 years of what they learn and experience? So I always used to think that 15 days should have been much more for us. It should have been like 2 months or 3 months. Like there is one GMCS extended program, which is for 3 months, I guess, where you can opt for
There's
that. But
1 month program which is there at the Hyderabad Center for Excellence.
yeah, so I used to think no, they used to make a 3 month something and used to be,
Huh.
and it has to be mandatory for everyone, and don't
Ah.
charge like extra fees and all. Like just do it for the betterment of the student. No, the CA institute can't do that or what. But it should be 3 months, and it should be like distributed over the period of 3 years of articleship, like one month or something. Because you can't just at the end of 3 years you do 3 months and then you expect them to suddenly become very good in communication. Whole personality will change in 3 months. It will not happen like that. It is a gradual process. So only place where I feel communication, where CA students should have a, a opportunity where they can work on their personality, like personality development, communication skills improvement. That I really feel lacks a lot in CAs. And when you enter in the corporate world, you actually feel the pinch, you feel the pain. Your shit, this is where we are lacking compared to MBAs or compared to other people from other fields and all. So yeah, if I can go back, I'll work on my communication, and that is what I'll give to tip advice to every budding CA. Please work on your communication skills.
Communication.
Please join Toastmasters. Like I think so, there's no age limit for Toastmasters
No,
and
no
all, so
age
you
limit.
can join. Yeah, so please join your area Toastmasters. There's some nominal fees. It's not a very high fees. Get on stage, speak for 3 minutes. You need not be like, don't no need to do stand-up comedy. You can speak on anything actually, but do like get on stage, speak on random group discussions, but do it. It's very important.
Yeah, that's something bright takeaway, guys. Please go out there, talk. Networking is also very important, irrespective whether in
Yeah.
industry or in practice. And one thing that I've observed is throughout the career, like post qualification, is it always the choice between the passion and the money? Like, should we be going for what drives us towards the passion, or should we be running behind the money? But as far as I've gone through your profile and so far the interview has gone, I've never got the feel like you went for money at any point. Money just came to you and you were always running through the passion. The day you felt like your passion is stand up a little more, is towards the stand up anymore, you didn't go with your existing job and you ran towards your passion. So I'm just curious to hear from you as to, is it always the choice between passion and money as a chartered accountant?
See, actually, I mean, I can give a very filmy answer that no, it's not about money. You should
Yeah.
follow your passion, but that is not the practical world. Actually, you need money. I mean, you need money, and there's no doubt about that. You need to be financially independent. If you want to be confident person in your life, you want to live life on your own terms, you have to be financially independent. Like, if you're dependent on your parents or on your partner for money, a lot of your life decision you can't take on your own. So you have to have your own financial independence, and as soon as better, that will be good for you. So if your passion can make you earn money, it's very good. That is the best option, right? Yeah, that is your interest area, and it is able to make me money also. But that best scenario may not be there for everyone.
Mhm.
So what I say, that you follow your passion, but don't give up your job. Like, I may be little lucky that my stand up is able to give me some money, but see, again, during this pandemic of 6 months, the whole thing has changed. Like, I regret now so much that why did I quit my CA job. So there are times you'll find it difficult, but if I minus this pandemic, which is a totally
Mm.
one-off event, in 100 years it has happened, so remove that. So stand up was able to give me money where I was leading a comfortable life, but it may not happen to everyone. So but what you should do, that you follow your passion, but don't quit your day job, CA, MBA, or whatever job you have. You see that as a day job. See that as a job to earn money so that I can have financial independence and have a good life. And for my interest, I do this. And you do this particular thing for your own fulfillment of your soul and all. And I'm not saying that for some people, CA job cannot be a passion. It can be like that. For some people, even that accounting job going is a very fulfilling job, and they're very passionate. Like for me, if my stand-up is passion, for them that job, for me 5 years, that was a passion, right? That equity research profile was a passion. So some people,
Mm.
auditing job can be a passion, accounting job can be a passion. For you, the teaching is passion, right? You're
Yeah.
very passionate about it. So that is you just find your passion. If that passion doesn't give you money, then you find a job which will give you money so that you can follow your passion. A very simple equation.
It's a very interesting answer. I've asked this question to a lot of people, and every time I ask this part wherein they give answer to this question becomes very interesting. And this is the most exciting part for me throughout the entire interview. And that was really nice of you to answer it. I like the way you phrased the entire answer. If your passion can give money, it's really nice. If not, see that job that gives you money as a day job and then pull extra time out to do what basically is your passion. And what I basically took away from that particular part was like, you do things for money, but let money not stop you from doing what you basically love. If you really love it and then have passion towards it, you can still make time out of it at the end of a very hectic day job also. So that's
Correct,
what
correct.
even you went through for quite some time, if I'm not wrong. After your hectic day, you might have gone back home,
Oh
written few
yeah.
content. Yeah. So
No,
that's,
I started writing in office itself, so that was only impacting my job.
yeah. And a very healthy balance is also required when you have a passion which is not your job, like maintaining your job performance as well as your passion, healthy times, and that's something really nice. And Vikash, basically, almost all of our audience are people who are pursuing the course or who've just qualified and then looking for a job. So as you were there long ago, maybe 8 10 years ago, 8 years ago,
Yeah, more than that. I think so 10.
a decade ago you were there as a student or just qualified, what to say,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
chartered accountant, and today here 10 years down the line, the way you see the entire scene is very different. There would have been a lot of
Correct.
things you wish someone would have told you when you were a student or when you were a just qualified chartered accountant. So maybe I can't help you out with that because I can't let people tell the past Vikash about few things. But what I can basically do is I can ask Akash to tell those things what he would have loved to hear from what is a chartered accountant ahead of his times. So if you can give your message to all those upcoming chartered accountants out there, they will be having a great gratitude to you for you doing so.
Yeah, I think so. I already touched that point, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
is that you have to find your interest. Like
Mhm.
in all the, see, 8 subjects are there, 8 streams: audit, law, accounts, SFM, or other thing. But there is 1 or 2 subjects which you like more than any other subject, and obviously you have to at least do that with full passion. Understand all the concepts, like See, in the entire CA course, I was not a uh, very sincere student in the sense. I don't know if this is the best thing to tell it in your channel. I did not attend a lot of coaching because I joined, but I did not go. I went
Hey,
for like
this guy is
half
a
of it.
smart guy. He finished his finals in
No,
three
no, no,
months.
no.
And
I don't want
don't
to.
yeah.
I don't want to misguide people. That's what is applicable to you may not be applicable to many, because I
Huh.
may be doing something else which I want to
Hmm.
touch now.
Hmm.
Because I was very lazy and I used to stay very far away. I did my inter in Delhi. So I'm from Shriram College of Commerce, Delhi University, right? So from Kolkata was my schooling. From then I went to college in Delhi. There I did my till inter, foundation and inter I did there, 2 levels. So most of my coaching happened there. Then
Hmm.
articleship I came back to Kolkata. So in Delhi, I used to stay very far away from my coaching institute. So half of the time, in fact, not even, I think I attend 20-30% only. Why? Because that time coaching centers were also all not that great, because they used to do in a very big batches and all, like 500 people and all. I'm sure at least nowadays teachers, you must be taking care about that personal
Yeah,
care,
personal touch
personal
kind of.
attention is there.
Hmm.
I That time I think so there was a boom in coaching institutes 10 years back. Everybody was minting money. I mean, I'm sure you're also making, but yeah, everybody's minting money. So it became like a business. And I
Hmm.
was like, no, this is not happening, because I'm not getting any. I have some query problem. Nothing is able to solve. It was very hectic. So I stopped going. I studied, but what I did to compensate that, I used to study like 2-3 books. So one single subject, I had like 3 different authors. One was like little practical oriented. One will be like pointers, bullet points. So you get a lot of guidebook kind of format, right? Which will be
Hmm.
like they'll give in a very
Question
nice
bank kind
format.
of thing. Lot of questions.
I remember in Chennai it was very famous, that Paduka publications. I
Ah,
used to
Paduka.
follow them.
Even
I
today,
used
if
to
you
love
read
that.
Padukas, you're done. But it's so fat. You can't finish it. It
So
takes a
what
lot of time.
exactly? So what I did, I just because I skipped my coaching, I just banked on that only. So for all tax, audit, accounts, everything, I was doing Paduka, and also 1 or 2 more books I used to study. So what I'm saying is, but I understood each concept. For example, if I didn't understand one part, one concept, I used to go back to the coaching institute teacher. I'll ask them, or I'll go to my peers or colleagues, the seniors, and ask. But if I don't understand the concept, I'll not leave it. So that's what I tell to CA students: don't mug up anything, please. Take time in understanding the concept. Take time how many times you want to, but understand. Once you understand, you will not forget ever, right? But if you mug up, you'll easily forget. By the time you go to your job, you'll be like blank mind. People, boss will be like, what? You don't even know this simple concept. But if you understand, you'll never forget. So I used to understand the concept, but not for all 8 subjects. The subject which I was interested in, like SFM, accounts, law, tax, this and all I loved. Costing and all I didn't like. So but so that concepts I used to understand. So that is what I would tell to people: please understand the concepts, understand it, don't mug it. And the communication part I've already told. Find your interest. Which subject do you like most? You like accounts and mafa, you like accounts and audit, you like accounts and law. Accordingly choose your job, whether you want to go to a CF firm which is more into taxation, or a CF firm which is more into audit, or CF firm which is more into company laws, or CF or job equity research profile like me. But then only you can identify, otherwise you'll not be able to identify.
That's really nice, and I in fact had a lot of takeaway from this particular session. And
Hey, I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear you. Now I can hear. Now a little bit I can hear. You can talk like this only.
that was really nice. I really had a lot of takeaway from this particular session with Vikash, and all the viewers out there. I hope you people also have quite a lot of takeaways from this. And I know you personally can't thank him and by bugging him on his Instagram profile, but do bug him on his comment line and then likes on YouTube. But I'll definitely thank Vikash on behalf of all the viewers out there for taking his time out and then enlightening us with regard to a lot of insights with regard to various aspects, not just studies, not just career right after that. In fact, love and passion also, to be very precise. And wholehearted thank you, Vikash, for being here and then spending your time with us and for such kind words. Okay,
Thank
guys.
you so much, guys. Thank you for having me. So, all the viewers, thank you so much for listening to me. Just follow me on Instagram at Vikash Paul Comic. And thanks, Rajavardhan. Thank you so much for having me. You're doing a great job. Great platform for a lot of CS to come and share their journey and stories with all the CS students. So, it's actually a great work. So, kudos for that.
Thank you. Thank you. See you all, guys, in the next episode with one more chartered accountant or a company secretary from a different sector altogether. Till then, stay in the game.